Okay, it's 7 o'clock, start the meeting, pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start out, got any public comment?
Hi, good Kurt. My name is Bob Knoll, and I'm a member of the Lions Club, and we've kind of taken on Knoll Park as a project, and it needs some beautification and cleanup and some work done. So I'll be coming to you, Kurt, with some ideas and some thoughts, things we want to do. So, one thing, my wife and I are going to buy soccer nets and put out there, and so we want to work with Mitch, you know, on how to put them and mowing and do all that. So.
Did you guys ever think anymore? I know he said something handy, about putting, we got a bunch of playground equipment we bought.
We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll need your help with that, you know, as far as
Yeah,
moving it around. But
okay,
yeah, we'll work on that.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
I have a public comment. In the middle of our last meeting where we went into closed sessions, the recording kept recording the whole time while we were out of the room. I was very dismayed to hear discriminatory language from this side of the table once again. And I want to remind my colleagues that in section 38 prohibited discrimination in the policy that we adopted by resolution, provide an environment that is free from unlawful discrimination, including discrimination or harassment that is based on any legally protected status. Race and religion are protected statuses. It's not hard to keep your mouth shut. End of comment.
Barb?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment, is that we don't always follow Robert's Rules of Order here. And people make comments to you or to the board during the middle of the meeting. They are not permitted to talk. And usually in a meeting, if someone starts talking, that's when you say, point of order. I did that years ago for a person that was talking out of line all the time. So point of order means that they need to stop and you need to stop them also. Because you can't get your job done when everybody's asking you questions and say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Well, did you think of this? No. You have been elected. You are elected officials. You are in charge. If people don't like what you're doing, then they need to run for office. But it goes back to the thing, you shouldn't permit people to have this dialogue going through. Either talk at this time or talk at the end. So if you hear me yell, point of order, that's me because they're not following the rules. Not that I'm a rule follower, but I do follow the rules.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. Get a motion to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Motion.
Discussion. Can we please change the verbiage on 9A to reflect the advice we were given by council to the Crystal Township sewer land lease?
Crystal Township, sewer, lease.
Awesome.
We need to add, since we're doing that, under new business, wood cutting on township property. Okay, motion by Nancy, seconded by Leash. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now we need to accept the consent agenda.
Motion to accept the consent agenda. I will second that.
Motion by Elise, second by Nancy. Any more discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, Motion carried. Puts us down to Montcalm County Buzz, I see.
Chris isn't here tonight, sorry.
That's all.
I have one question too. Updates from our organizational meeting and our first meeting of the year. We elected a new vice chair, Commissioner Mahar is the new vice chair. Our meeting schedule will still be the second and fourth Mondays, with the exception of December. We'll meet the 16th. All meetings will be at 4 p.m. At our regular meeting, we heard a legislative update from Pat Outman, approved an increase in cost of food for inmates and township police contracts, approved a community needs assessment bid for the Commission on Aging Director Ryan Dreyer, and approved an employee reclassification from part-time to full-time for animal control. Thanks, and see you next month. Chris Johnson.
Moves us down to fire report, Mike's not here. He sent us anything?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
We did, Nancy Bond we got the grant, was it paper sent in, and
Yeah, they're sending.
that was sent in after the last board meeting. We ain't got the check yet, but we will be. Okay, DBW, like Mitch had a basketball game, he was coaching tonight.
Say varsity. Assistant coach.
Duck Lake improvement, Shirley?
Board last night, and the same chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and re-elected for another year.
Thank you.
Next meeting's in April.
April? Downtown Development Authority, Dave's not here. Puts us down to Montcalm Police Report. Officer?
Good evening, everyone. I know it says Deputy Campbell, but he's actually moved on. He's now over in Recon, Deputy Bennett. No, I don't have any name tag. It broke last week, so I'll get a new one. So, this is my first time doing this, so bear with me. For hours, total patrol hours, we had 117 and a half. Total traffic-related hours were 5.5. Criminal complaint hours was 17. Non-criminal activity was 15.5, and report time was 8.5. Total hours of 164. Do you guys usually like if I just read the entire thing, or do you just like the arrests and
The main
notable?
thing.
So traffic stops 56, 9 citations issued, 49 warnings. 1 car assisted, 64 property inspections, 1,999 miles patrol. Notable events, deputy, on December 29, I pulled over a vehicle that came back stolen. The vehicle was impounded and sent up a warrant for the prosecutor for review due to the driver just being a repairman. The junk ordinance is on Muscat Road is still ongoing and still being solved / fixed before I send it up to the prosecutor.
Anybody got any questions for him? Thank you. Puts us down the trustee report.
All right, first off, instead of getting a bunch of policies ahead of the work product we're getting back from the attorney, took a deep dive into what a fiduciary is. So you'll start with a definition, got a 3-pager here. I'm gonna read a couple of things that I found really interesting. A fiduciary responsibility speaks to the relationship between one party who is obligated to act in the best interest of another party. And I didn't realize that there were a number of sections in a fiduciary, that there is a duty of care, a duty of loyalty, a duty of obedience, a duty of confidentiality, duty of prudence, and a duty to disclose. And it just seems to me that since all of us are a fiduciary as a statutory duty, that getting a greater understanding of what that term actually is, and this is mostly on nonprofit boards, which are quite similar to any other board whatsoever. So, for your reading information on that one. Ran across the township focus from 2020, and it is from the MTA staff attorney. In this, there's some really important stuff. It's up to the township board to ensure that every duty gets done and how. Sometimes township board members feel that when they have a statutory duty, it means they single-handedly run that function. But you owe a statutory duty. You don't own it. The township, through the township board, is responsible for seeing that these functions required by law get done and get done properly. The board ensures this is accomplished by being a modern township. They can only act during a meeting. It can be difficult. It's not, if not impossible, to provide day-to-day oversight for township employees. One way to do this is through board-adopted written policies that set rules and procedures, direct what needs to be done, and delegate responsibility for implementing the programs and services. It's a recommended best practice. Making board directions and expectations clear and explicit in policies promotes consistency, avoids confusion, and enables accountability by directing who can make administrative decisions and to whom. A board may also delegate by written policies authority for day-to-day administration to a supervisor or other board member, to a manager or superintendent, or to their department heads. A general law township supervisor, however, has no statutory authority over administration. And finally, what we're finding is that often, as people are moving from cities into townships, they bring the expectation of what they had in the city into the township. They're still looking for those same amenities that they had in the city. So how do today's township officials ensure that they are meeting their residents' both new and old expectations, and ensuring residents' needs and wants are being met? Hearing from and communicating to residents on a regular basis is critical. So in light of the policy work that's been done, I would really like it if we all partook in taking a little bit of, all right, that's kind of my area, can I take that one over, or you point on it, or add more important things, because the only way policies are going to be robust enough to cover everyone's needs in a very diverse township is if we have different ideas going into them. And in that light, I have our statutory duties. So besides being a fiduciary, all of us, trustees are township legislators required to vote on all issues, responsible for the fiduciary health of the township, and other duties as assigned by board. And I think it would benefit us and our constituents if we could read the rest off right down the line.
Am I starting?
Yep.
Okay. Treasurer collects real and personal property taxes, keeps an account of township receipts, revenues, and expenditures, issues township checks, deposits township revenues in approved depositories, invests township funds in approved investment vehicles, collects delinquent personal property tax, responsible for jeopardy assessments and collecting property tax, collects mobile home specific tax, must appoint a deputy, must post a surety bond.
Supervisor moderates board and annual meetings. Chief assisting officer is certified. Secretary to board of review. Township's legal agent must maintain records of supervisor office. Reasonable for taxation. Board budget if acceptable. Develops township budget. Appoints some commission members. May call special meetings. May appoint a deputy.
Clerk maintains custody of all township records, maintains general ledger, prepares warrants for township checks, records and maintains township meeting minutes, keeps the township book of oaths, responsible for special meeting notices, publishes board meeting minutes, keeps voter registration file and conducts elections, keeps township ordinance books, prepares financial statements, delivers tax certificates to supervisor and the county clerk by September 30th. May appoint a deputy, must post a surety bond.
Must appoint a deputy,
Must appoint a deputy, sorry.
So there's a lot of things that aren't in our statutory duties that are assigned and non-statutory duties that people have to pick up to make everything function. But reading those guidelines through MTA of that we're all responsible for each other's bottom line was kind of surprising to me.
well, it makes sense though, we all need to make sure everything is getting done.
Right, so to do that adequately, we all need to know what's going on in every department, pretty much.
Sure.
And that is your trustee report.
Gus, anything?
No, I was just gonna say, I like the other duties that's listed on there.
The additional.
Yeah, the additional ones.
Okay, correspondence, consumers public hearing, 116. E. Smith Community Disaster Renaissance Zone, Reliance Zone. Unfinished business governance policy.
All right, that's your other sheet for me. And it is pretty bare bones at this point. Thoughts?
Where did you find this?
Policy matters and MTA.
It's a good one.
It kind of umbrellas over the top.
I just think sometimes we don't all know what is going on, and this would kind of bring it back into focus, whereas board members, we all would know what was happening. It's not always easy to do, especially, meet together at board meetings. So,
And we can send information to each other. We just may not answer or have a discussion or say, what do you think? Because that's gonna promote discussion, but we can send each other information on what's going on, like, hey, the leaf vac's broken.
Yeah.
And that's the only one I have until we start getting some back. You like that one?
I do, I think, yeah. I don't think that needs to change.
Okay, and anybody in the audience or anybody that watches that wants to be involved, my real number is on the website. Text me, call me, swing by the house. More than happy to share.
It moves us down to B, compactor. Nancy, you want to give an update?
Sure, a portion of the compactors are here. If anybody noticed, it has been here in the daylight. Our electrician has to come in, wire them, and then Speed Tech, I think it is, the company that delivered them, will come back and get them up and running. When that happens and they're ready to go, all the other dumpsters will be gone. I have no timeline. I gave the electrician a heads up today that they're here. Please come and look at them. They're every compactor we found is different from what's been in a previous location. Ours are a little different. So he was going on the model that was in Stanton. These don't really look like the ones in Stanton. They'll all seem the same purpose, but, so hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be up and running. Yeah, should save us hopefully a lot of grief. And there will be cameras up too, so we'll be filming. Hopefully that'll stop people contaminating them. And Mitch was very helpful today, even though he was, sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
You said last month on these other ones, they were gonna get a fine because they had contamination in them.
No. They
We
They
weren't
had,
gonna, but they
not
were
us,
gonna.
it's kicked back to the solid waste
So
committee.
what's gonna happen if they get contamination in these?
Well, we're hoping with the cameras in the smaller openings, that
They
won't
won't
happen.
get it in there,
That's,
okay.
you know, that we can catch somebody putting something out there that shouldn't be there. If they try and shove a bag of something in there, they should not be able to. These openings, I think, are a little bit bigger than some of the other ones I've seen. So, you know, and
It's a new program, we're gonna figure it out as we go.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, and I did ask Mitch today, we need some padlocks. Asked him to pick those up, and he did a great job. He had been up since, I think he said 3:30, he's been plowing. He was trying to get this building taken care of, and then the compactor showed up. I didn't find out until late yesterday they were coming today. And so he is doing a bang-up job as far as I'm concerned.
Our one, a part-time guy helped him out some today.
Yeah, he
He
did
could
a
only
little
work
bit.
till noon or one, and
Yeah,
he had to go get glasses, so.
those are helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
that puts us down to C, tax bill calculation.
So I'm gonna start here real briefly. So KCI, for 1,957 parcels, we're charging us $1,649.59. That was to do a setup fee of $135, process and mail for $540, postage $974.58. We had to pay a late fee because it wasn't paid in advance, so it did end up costing us $1,750.58. Before I came down here, I looked online. Right now, for me to buy 2,500 envelopes, just buy the envelopes, is $1,976.75. That is 5 boxes, and I have approximately 2,500 to be mailed. That doesn't count receipts, so right there. And postage is going up again. So when you do a bulk rate mailing, which KCI does, they have the equipment, they have the sorting, they have the technology, and how many places now want to mail, or do they want you to get your bill online? Or charge you if you want it mailed? So we need to look at how we're going to save money somewhere. I have not added in even the paper, my deputy hours. We have spent between $1,400 and $1,800 every 2 years on the Xerox repair and maintenance. The paper folder doesn't work, that costs $527. So I'm not sure what else you want.
My question, Nancy, was, you indicated that it cost $1.30 per tax bill to mail those out, and I asked you what calculations you used to come up with $1.30.
I thought that it would be much more plain, Pat, and I can go back and get you another figure, but by the time I add all these in, it's gonna be a lot higher than $1.30.
But the statement you said at that board meeting
Well, I apologize,
was
Pat,
that
because
didn't
I
include the
dropped
deputy.
several things that I didn't include. But I'll go back and redo it for you one more time. That's fine. I would like to know from you, though, how you can always buy me envelopes, paper, and pay my deputy, but you refuse to pay a KCI bill that did the same thing for a cheaper cost. Never once have I had to ask for envelopes, paper, or my deputy to be paid.
Office supplies have always been paid for. Postage has always been paid for. That's why the envelopes are purchased, because the envelopes and the postage are all included in one. That's why those were included in advance. The only thing I said about the KCI bill was I wasn't willing to issue a check prior to the board meeting because the board had not approved that payment.
Okay, I'm going to this one then. I have a printout from 2016 through 2023 of every time you charged a meeting, a first and second quarter review, a consulting service, a quarterly review, et cetera, to Yo and Yo that you paid for, and it never went to a board meeting.
The bill was approved, payment was
You
approved.
slipped it in with a bill.
The payment was approved at the board meeting, and that's what I said about the KCI bill, Nancy, that it needed to be approved at the board meeting.
Pat, you're not getting your bills, okay? You're just slipping them in with the bills with the check issues. So I just don't know why you don't want to do the more modern way of mailing out
It's not
tax
that at
bills.
all, Nancy, I was just trying to come up with $1.30 for mailing the postage, that was all my question was. Where the number came from.
Do you want, I'll let you add all my numbers, Pat. You're gonna get a lot more than the $1.30 I stopped at. If that's what you want. Start writing them down? Nope, I'm giving them. So, let's start with KCI, we'll start with, not KCI, excuse me, the envelope, $1,976.75.
1900 what?
$76.75.
Okay,
We're going to say, do half of our Xerox repair bill, about $450 a year. Smart Source paper, depending on it's 1 or 2 boxes, between $100 and $190. My deputy hours, $322 to $402,
but in that meeting, you
$402.
indicated the $1.30 did not include deputy hours.
No, that did not. I'm adding everything in this time, Pat. Everything in. We're going with everything.
So what was the deputy going to say?
It's going to be 322 to 402 hours. And here's another thing. Do you know why I don't want to use my deputy? Every year when my deputy was used for June and June only for mailing tax bills, you put it to the next year. And I lost those hours every year. I finally went to the auditor and said, this has got to end. She said she told you several times how to do that, and it never got done. So I'm not wasting hours that I need someplace else.
What do you use your deputy for then if they ain't doing this?
The deputy needs to be receipting.
What do you take in?
She also, why don't you come in and sit with us? Or she'll be here next
I've been in
Wednesday.
there with you.
You see what we
How
do.
come, I got one question now.
Yeah.
Is it because of what happened that only one person can go in there at a time, but there's 2 of you in there?
The
How
one
come?
person was the party that started. People kept piling in. I think at one point in time I had 10 people in there, 10
I
people.
can see that.
What do they start doing? They start
Talking.
talking.
Right.
We're trying to wait on somebody, we're trying to process the payment, print a receipt, look up something. People also need their privacy, and the county does that too. That's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
where I got the idea.
Okay. New business.
I'll make a motion to appoint Sarah as moderator for A.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Oh, sorry.
Aye.
I will move that we remove the privilege from our communication with the attorney from November 7th, so we can deal with exact apples. Do I have support?
I'm sorry, say that again, Sarah.
I move to remove privilege from our communication with counsel regarding this matter.
Okay.
Or,
I'll second that. No, I didn't hear.
I
I'm
supported,
sorry.
I supported, you second.
All those
Oh.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Can I stop just a second? I apologize. So if I thought Sarah made the motion and Nancy supported. Or did Nancy make the motion and Alicia supported? I
I
see
made
what
the
you're
motion.
saying. Yeah, I said support, I
Okay,
probably should have
that's-
said motion, you said support.
Okay, I
Yeah,
was,
we're right on game, ball here then.
I just wanted to make sure. I got the right people in there.
Okay. So, as I understood it, we were given 3 options.
Yes.
One option was shrug our shoulders and do nothing and assume the risk.
Until 2027 until the contract ends.
Correct. And the second option was cancel the contract, but leave the township liable to being sued, basically. And the third option was to utilize the new lease that was drawn up. Have we heard from the attorney at all, Pat?
Yes, I talked to him yesterday, and he indicated that he needed to see the decision of the board after tonight's meeting, and whatever that decision was, then he would move forward.
Okay, and when he moves forward, or if he should move forward, he will also have another lease for us to provide to Carl Martin as well.
Yeah, I think that's what we probably need to do in making our motion tonight, is make one for McCracken Farms and one for Carl.
Yeah, and
Yep.
leave them split apart.
Yep,
But along with, if we're going to say, all right, we're having this new lease from the attorney, drawn up correctly with the correct things on it, and we're going to enter into it, that can only happen after Public Act 317 of 1968, which is disclosure, because we were flat told there was a conflict in the past and there is a conflict now.
and I apologize, because when I talked to the attorney yesterday, he indicated that we needed to make the decision tonight which way we move forward, then he would move forward with that process, and then we would go into the steps of the 317, the disclosure.
Right, but the disclosure needs to be made before any leases are signed.
Right,
That is
right,
in there.
Right, but he said we need to make that decision first, so we can develop those leases, and then the disclosure can be made.
Okay, I really wish you would have said that when we were all there.
Okay, for the benefit of everyone, including the public, exactly what is the disclosure entail?
The disclosure entails, in here, or do I have it in here? It is in here somewhere. It's rewritten.
Take your time.
And it is, the public servant promptly discloses any pecuniary interest, meaning money, in the contract of the official body that has power to approve the contract, which disclosure shall be made a matter of record in its official proceedings. Unless the public servant making the disclosure will directly benefit from the contract in an amount less than $250 and less than 5% of the public cost of the contract, and the public servant files a sworn affidavit to the effect with the official body, or the contract is for emergency repairs or services, the disclosure shall be made in either of the following manners. Public servant promptly discloses in writing to the presiding office, or if the presiding officer is the public servant who is a party to the contract, to the clerk, the pecuniary interest in the contract at least 7 days prior to the meeting at which a vote will be taken. The disclosure shall be made public in the same manner as a public meeting notice. The public servant discloses the pecuniary interest at a public meeting of the official body. The vote shall be taken at a meeting of the official body held at least 7 days after the meeting at which the disclosure is made. If the amount of the direct benefit to the public servant is more than $5,000, disclosure must be made as provided under this subparagraph. The contract is approved by a vote of not less than 2/3 of the full membership of the approving body in open session without the vote of the public servant making the disclosure. The official body discloses the following summary information in its official minutes: the name of each party involved in the contract, the terms of the contract, including duration, financial consideration between the parties, facilities or services of the public entity included in the contract, and the nature and degree of assignment of employees of the public entity for fulfillment of the contract, the nature of any pecuniary interest. So knowing that we have do nothing, shrug shoulders, assume liability, cancel what is titled now as a contract but is really a lease, and chips where they may, but leave the township open to tort, or to agree to enter into a new contract at the same amount of money per acre with the disclosures in place. So those are our three options.
And the disclosures will be how much, whatever is being harvested there is worth, or what?
How much financial value
That
the
crop.
product that is coming off of that township property has per year.
So that determines if it's more than the 5,000 or less, I mean, what you did.
Yeah.
Okay. But $5,000 is the magic line. You do one thing at 5,000 and one.
No, I didn't take it
No,
that way.
I didn't take that.
No, you have to disclose any
Right.
pecuniary interest if it's more than $250,
Right.
and 5,000 you have to do additional steps.
That's what I meant, okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
But I know folks who farm hay, so I want it to be right on. I don't want any wool going anywhere. And that's my only, like, I don't want a future fight going on, for sure. I am willing to come to the middle and go with option 3. But I want that disclosure to be correct. Also in that, if you add up what the current contracts say now for acreage, there's 145 acres. What we got from Cliff says 118 acres. We need to get an accurate acreage total.
Don't we also need to get the accuracy down that, the sewer department doesn't own that property, Crystal Township does?
That's gonna take a while.
Yeah, that's,
How? The bills are in Crystal Township's name. I sent, two,
The license of the factory out ain't in Crystal Township's name.
the what?
The license that they're working under.
But they're on Crystal Township property,
Right.
yeah, that's all, yeah, but maybe, I mean, how did all this happen? We make up a name and go for it?
I mean,
You know, that's kinda like what it
it's kind
sounded
of what
like.
happened, it seemed like.
Well, and Pat, I think we've gotten to the bottom of this rabbit hole. And, you know, there are rabbit holes all over, and I got accused of digging rabbit holes everywhere and not finishing everything. This has been 9 months. It's, I feel like I landed on Jupiter. So I would entertain a motion for what kind of choice we're gonna make.
So I would motion for us to have him sign a new contract, him and Carl.
Lease. It's a lease.
It's a lease. Lease for the remaining until 2027.
After,
With the correct disclosure being made at the time of us signing that new lease. So that's my motion.
support,
I'll support.
there's been a motion. That we go with option 3, that after lawful disclosures have been made, we will fulfill the lease that has been formerly known as a contract that is in place until 2027
For McCracken Farms.
for McCracken Farms.
And,
And,
Do we wanna do one
Do
motion or do we wanna
separate.
do separate?
Yeah.
Two separate motions.
okay,
all those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passed.
Okay, so then my second motion is gonna be the exact same, would be a new lease agreement with Carl.
I think it's
Carl.
Martin, yeah.
Again, until that contract ended, was that also at 2027?
No, he
That
is
did
year
not-
to year.
Okay,
And I'm good with keeping it year to year, cause he is not hay. And we're gonna cut into his area.
He is hay, sir.
Oh, he is hay?
Yeah.
I thought he was right behind, I thought he was the corn that was behind the
He's right
yardways.
around the road.
Oh, okay.
Put the pivot on it.
Okay, well, his contract does not reflect that, and I think we need to look at the, let's fulfill it now and get it done at what it is, because we can't change horse in the middle.
yeah, but when are we gonna end that new lease? I guess is what I'm gonna say.
Let's
If
look
it's-
at when it started.
Are you talking about Martin's?
Yeah,
Yes.
because if it's going year to year, that shouldn't be
I was
that
thinking
hard
it's
to
right
accomplish.
December 31st of each year, doesn't it?
I think, cause I don't think it had an exact end date.
Yeah, they are all white. We'll look into when he gets reassessed, but yeah, he's gonna get,
Pretty sure it was December, it would be, because no date is in it, wouldn't it be just the last day of the year? So we would go until December 31st of 2024?
Well, have we started a new one for 2024 automatically? I mean, what are we doing here? What has been going on here?
I'd say we hit up Cliff with, okay, if Carl is a year to year, we need to reassess what he is being charged because he is outside of any of the irrigated area, correct? Yeah, so, we need to hook Carl up with, yeah, with some different action, or possibly some different action.
Okay, so then at this point, we're only discussing McCracken Farms.
McCracken
at
Farms
this
right
time.
now, yep.
Further investigation or discussion with
We've passed,
Martin.
yep.
So there's no motion.
No motion on that one. Any other discussion on it? Sorry, Sarah, that would be you, sorry.
Yeah, we all said yeah, so, we're
Discussions before
waiting
the
on
vote.
stuff from the attorney
Wait,
again.
Discussions are before the vote.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes we forget.
I will entertain a motion to give the moderatorship back to the
I'll
supervisor.
second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that moves us down to the MTA conference.
Well, I have part to be put on, so I guess I'll start this. I'm interested in going to the conference. Main conference is $390. I would like that to be purchased as soon as possible, so I can have a housing code. I don't know if anyone else is interested.
Yes.
I'm very interested in going again. I learned a lot this year.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we register Nancy, Sarah, and Alicia for the MTA conference. I'd like to do it webinar again. So they want to attend and I want to do it webinar. So that's my motion.
Second.
Motion by Patty to send Sarah, Nancy, and Alicia to the MTA conference for $390 each. And Patty to do it online. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. That moves us down to Michigan 1 CD.
Okay, our CD will renew on February 10th. I'm sure we should still have 10 days after that time, but our next meeting is not till February 14th. If we do have the 10 days, we're good to wait, but we need to keep this in mind because if we let it renew, and I won't know the interest rate until February 9th, if we let it go, it won't be up again until August, and I really think that we were counting on some of this money perhaps for the park project. So I don't know if you want to wait or discuss now what we're gonna do with it.
So within the 10-day period, you could still,
I'll double check.
Terminate
Every
it?
place else is usually, you can cash it in, whatever.
Cash it
Every
in.
place else is usually 10 days. I'm sure they are too. I can't guarantee it. I didn't call them. I think I have approached them before and said, you didn't send me my notice, and I thought I had 10 days, and they did agree, but, we will have made over $6,400 in a 6 month period, if we gotta wait till the 10th of February though.
could we
so.
do a 3-month, do they have, I mean, it would be the same interest?
Pat, what I can do
Just
is
thought.
ask right now what the rates are gonna be, but we won't know usually until a Thursday is the day the dates come out. You know, we could do a quick special meeting. You know, we could, it'd be just for that, you know, unless something else comes up, but if you wanna wait and get some more information, and most of that information is not gonna come until after our meeting, our February meeting.
Do we know how much, I know we had talked about a figure going into the park project, have we ever pinpointed, hey, we're gonna put 150,000 of that 250,000 into the park project? Because if that's the case, if we have a number, why not roll the additional principal back into another CD?
Right, I guess what we need to do is get a breakdown of how much money we're, gonna have to put out and how much overall is our match.
Right.
And I don't have any of those numbers again in front of me, and Pat probably doesn't have either.
Just
We've gotta have that information, maybe that's the reason why we should do closer to this time
Oh, I
in
agree.
February, a meeting
Because
and
rate
have all
changes.
that.
Rates change all the time.
You
Yeah.
talk to them, and if we need to have a special meeting, we'll call a special.
Yeah, I'm
If it
gonna,
won't-
I'm gonna
if
go
we
into,
can't go to the
I'm gonna
next
go,
board
I'm gonna
meeting.
go into the first part of February, make sure I talk to him more. That gives Pat time to get some numbers around for what, we've got an outlay we are responsible for, not just what we're gonna get reimbursed, and we've gotta pay before we get reimbursed too, correct, Pat?
Right.
So, we might meet that
Yep.
$250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that moves us down to D, the DPW tractor. As you know, the last 3 or 4 years, we've been leasing one for $1,000 a year, for 200 hours, 200 to 250 hours. Through, New Holland, well, the first year was through Allen's, and then the last couple we've been through Burnham's. But New Holland did away with that.
Of course, it's a
Yeah.
good deal.
Yeah, but now, to get one, you gotta lease it,
Or buy it.
or buy it, or turn and lease it for 3 years. And at the end of the 3 years, you either buy what's left on it, or you let her go back and get your money. A monthly, if we leased one, it was $840 a month. And then at the end of 3 years, I think that comes up to 32,000 or something. Then we'd owe about 10 left on it. They want 43,000 for the tractor.
Okay, that's not my figure. And I have a question. 3-year lease through New Holland, $840 monthly or $16,476.
Yeah, I'm not questioning him on that because
Yearly.
16,000, that puts us up to like 46,000.
49.
49,000, yeah.
428,
He
so
said, well-
840 times 12 is $10,080. So, and then the balance,
That's a year, right?
that would be a year.
So we'd have 30,000 into it.
Well,
Year
we'd
lease.
have 30,240 and our balance would be 1270,
Yeah,
760 if we were gonna buy it. So, yeah, his numbers are whacked, I would never.
he
say
says
anything
it's
like that.
he says it's New Hollands. He said, I know it, I just questioned the guy and he says, that's the way it is.
What's the way it is?
The 16,000, cause I asked him, well, how about if we did it with just a yearly payment? I said, that don't even make sense. We're paying more than you're asking for the tractor in a 3-year lease.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But,
so, okay, so like.
so then, I don't think it, probably gonna pay us to lease one. So we've called, Kubota ain't got back with us. I don't know what their deal is, if they don't want, but we got a price of John Deere. John Deere to buy one about similar to what we got, almost a 40 horse with a loader, a cab, is right straight through John Deere is $46,295.28. If we would join the, my deal, or
My deal.
my bid,
My deal.
my deal, we could get it for $45,170. We'd save about $1,100. But it's gonna cost us $180 to join them.
Well,
But you can use it for more
Right.
than just the tractor.
You said it's good if you buy a lot of equipment.
Right. I guess you could even buy supplies out of there, I guess. But that deal with my deal is done this Friday. And he says we might have to wait a couple of weeks to see what their new program says. But-
expiration January 12th, okay.
But, that tractor through John Deere, they're gonna have to order it.
Okay.
He has one, which he couldn't give us a price for tonight, would be a little bit more, same tractor, but it don't have a loader on it, but they got the tractor. But they'd have to get the loader on it, and he says it's probably gonna be 2 weeks.
And the loader, well, he hasn't got any sort of price.
No, but it's gonna be over 46,000.
What do we do with our tractors? Remind me, I know we need one.
We,
Remove the park equipment.
my part, if they can get into it, we gotta cover the graves back up. We sometimes dig the cremation hole with it,
Right, okay.
and then plow the snow.
Is there a buyout on our current tractor, and what kind of shape is it in?
We don't have.
They've
It's
got it.
gone.
They've got it, it is gone.
We could get it back.
For how much?
I didn't ask him, but I figured we might as well just start out with another new. Well, I'm
You
sure, I'm
always
sure,
like brand new
well, I'm
toys.
sure that's gonna be 43,000, because it's only a year old. But
Oh, my goodness.
Well, could we just continue to lease that one for 2 more years? Their
If-
whole
if-
program
if-
is just
if
chopped it
you're-
off
it's
even
done.
when it
It's
exists.
done.
I don't wanna
Okay.
do that anymore.
We knew that was too good of a deal to continue.
Well, it was probably advertising for quite some
what this guy, which at first I thought one time, well, probably John Deere is worth the extra $3,000, but I don't know if it is nowadays.
Well, I'm a red family, and I have
It's
been
John
red
Deere's are
for
green.
a real long time, like, if it ain't red, you don't put it in your shed. But the green ones have their own, the whole not able to be fixed issue. And that seems, that makes me wanna run away from John Deere real fast.
Right, 'cause they have to go to the dealership and then they turn
Right.
it around and like, and I had a farmer tell me that it worked today, so.
Well, any deal, you get a limit with any deal, sometimes. You know, we was good with, last one, now we got a limit out the
Okay.
sewer plant, but
So,
I would recommend the one from Burnett since, well, another thing to back up, the John Deere, we've already got the blade, the push box and the blade that'll fit on it for the New Holland. Well, the John Deere, we're gonna have to have it remanufactured
so,
to
okay.
fit it.
We've got the extra goods for this New Holland.
Yeah,
And you're looking at purchasing.
it is a
out.
size, it's a size smaller than what we did have. Because our bigger one was too big for the street, or up on the sidewalks and
Gotcha,
the
so well,
business.
that would make more sense too, you know, because
And
I
it was-
noticed,
Kinda big even out in the cemetery, trying to get in there filling.
right, the only part of the sidewalks that were, taken care of today were the non-decorative part.
Did it blow them off?
The
They ran the snow,
non-decorative
they ran the snow blower.
Yes, and, you know, they got them out, so
Yeah,
just in
okay.
case anybody complains, you know, they were busy, they had
Right,
things
oh
to do.
yeah, that was a wet snow.
It was bad. Yeah.
And he does, as of a week or two ago, he did have one he could bring us.
Well, I don't think we budgeted for that much. We have a park to pay for. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well,
I
we-
understand we need a
Well,
tractor.
I tell you what, we can, on this one, I don't know about John did, but this one, we can finance it through him, 0% interest.
That's cool.
Really?
Yeah,
See, a 6-year purchase, $600 a month is $71.67 a year.
Well, then I think that's the route to go if they will
well,
let us.
interest free, we might as well, why would
Right,
you wanna
take
use our own
advantage
money?
of that.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I would see what kind of money they give you off our 1-year-old one that they just took back. Like, if we can get 15 or 20 off the top of that, that'd be awesome.
I know I'll ask him, but I know that was part of the deal, of that cheap program, is they let us use them for, put a couple $100 on it, but then they turn around and sell it as a new tractor, or written as a demo. But I can ask him. But what do you wanna do,
I say go with the New Holland and do the 6-year purchase for 0% interest. I mean, that's just my opinion.
His numbers don't match. 600 monthly or 7167 yearly. 600 times 12 is not $7,167. So there's something thrown in there, as there probably should be.
Well, what is it?
Yeah.
what's the 7167?
Well, $600 a month at 1,200, or 12 months is $7,200.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't carry something in, all right. See, I use a calculator.
So he's under on that one,
So
but
that
yeah,
was
his numbers
okay.
are still wacky.
We still want the
7,200.
So we would want to do the 71.67 a year instead of the monthly. 'Cause we'd be
Well,
saving,
yeah, he's just
we'd
carrying
be
it,
saving,
so, yeah,
$40.
that's fine.
Yeah,
There we go.
$33 to be exact.
great, except that they said both programs expired December 29th to 21st.
He told me he'd get us through this week.
I'll second Alicia's motion.
Motion by Alicia to purchase, I'll check with him on the other one too first, but if that ain't no deal, and then purchase this one for $43,000 through New Holland.
Purchase.
A 6-year purchase.
Second by Patty, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Caitlin sent resolutions, and the one I gave you originally in your packet, okay, let's do the first one, sorry, guidelines for poverty exemption. That was the one that I gave you the other day. She sent it back to me today with a couple worded differences, so the new one that you got in your mailbox late this afternoon is the updated version. So I would make a motion that we approve the guideline resolution for poverty exemption.
I'll second that.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah, to accept the guideline resolution, poverty exemption. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
The second one is the 2024 protest board review and writing resolution. I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah to accept the in writing resolution. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
And then we got one more, adopt alternate dates. Oh, that was on the back of the, sorry. Resolution to adopt alternate start dates for the March 2024, July 2024, and December 2024 board review. I'll make a motion to approve that one.
Second.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah to do for the dates. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Park project, I gave you this afternoon an email that I got from Dave Fisher at Wolverine that breaks down the next steps for the park project. So what they need from us now is a notice of award, and that's what is on the back of that sheet. So they need that, so tonight we need to make a motion to award it. And then once that's awarded, forward contracts, bonds, and insurance requirements to the contractor. They return everything to them. Upon receipt of contracts, schedule pre-construction meeting. Contracts would be signed at the pre-construction meeting, and then notice to proceed issued at the pre-construction meeting. And then all documents distributed at the pre-construction meeting. And then he also sent, if you've got your bifocals on, the breakdown of all of the, yeah.
Everybody that bid on it.
So I make a motion that we approve the notice of award for the Crystal Lake shoreline improvements to Dan's excavating service out of Grant.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah, to accept the notice of award to Dan's excavating service on the grant. Any more discussion?
I just wanna know when we're gonna have our pre-construction meeting.
Yes.
30 days.
Okay, anyway.
I don't know.
That's it.
Friday night.
And, just so you know, because the other thing Dave is doing is, at this time, if he did this previous to starting most of this, that we applied for the permits and stuff, and even though Eagle came in and we met with them up there and they said, you really don't need shoreline permits and all these different things, Dave is still following up and getting those permits, because he just feels we're that close, we need to do that. So, through all this other stuff that's going on, he's getting with Eagle, and he said that in the past, those haven't, you know, 'cause I mean, we look at our seawall permits and how long that process often takes, so I was a little concerned. And he said that in the past, he's never had any issue, especially since we had to
qualifying back and forth.
Whatever,
ping-pong.
so he is applying for those permits at this time also.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, last Friday, or was it a week ago Friday, I got a phone call that the guy was cutting trees. Well, when the lady called me, I thought she talking about the one that we okayed at the last board meeting.
Mhm.
And I said, well, we okayed it at the board meeting. She said, well, you know, they're cutting the yard up pretty good. So I thought, well, I'll drive up and check it out.
In the park?
Well, no, this one right here, it's a street.
Right.
Well, I come around, I don't see where they've cut no trees down, well, I keep going straight. And our little hunk of woods down here, yeah, there's a pile of, somebody cut a pile of, like it was dead stuff. And, well, I didn't know, so I called Patty and said, hey, have we gave anybody permission to cut some dead stuff? No, not that she knew of. So we decided to go, because we thought, well, it's dead stuff in the swamp. Well, this Friday, was it last Friday? It must be Friday. Got another phone call. He's cutting logs out of it. So I drove by, no logs were there. But I had Mitch walk out in there, he's cutting 10 trees down.
Not just taking dead.
Right. And they were walnut.
Oh!
And, so I started investigating myself a little bit. I went out to the sawmill out here in Sydney Road and asked that guy, Arlen, I said, you ain't bought any logs from anybody in Crystal, have you? He says, matter of fact, I have one. He goes, well, they're the townships. He says, you can have them. He said, I lowball, he said, I didn't really want them, but he says, I thought the kids might need some money. He said, I lowball, and he only gave me $300 for it. So then we turned it over to the county cops. They're still investigating it, but we know who's cut them down now.
What are you gonna do with the wood?
Well, that's what I wanna know, you guys wanna, the first thing the cop Friday asked is, do we wanna press charges?
Well, we're at trespass and theft from the
Absolutely.
people of the township.
And I did go back out to Arlen.
It's after
Um,
Christmas, so it could be a square week.
I went back out to Arlen and I said, Arlen, honest, what are they worth? And he said, well, Kurt, he said, they told me when they were 10 feet long, but he says they were 8 to 9. He only got 6 of them. 2 of them are still down here in the driveway. Or one of them. He said you'd probably be lucky if you could find anybody to give you $600 to $700
Yeah,
for them.
it's just not worth it.
He said, number one, if they've been in more of a woods, he said they might have given you a little bit more, but being in a swamp like that and then close to the roads, where you know the gravel gets thrown. So I need to know what you guys wanna do. Do you want to have the cops press charges or?
I am of that thought, for sure.
I am too.
Discussion?
You need a motion out of it?
Yeah, I move that we pursue, because we cannot allow people to steal from the people of Crystal Township.
I'm gonna
I
second
will
that.
agree with that, I will also say that he probably has no idea who even owned that property.
Which is even worse.
And did he ask anybody in that area, and would they
Who
tell
owns
him?
the property?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's fairly close. to
Well,
the
he don't own the
trailer.
property, his mom owns it.
Near there? Near there?
Right there.
Oh.
So
Then,
they would know, then they would
Okay,
know the
then.
property lines, I'm sorry.
Well.
Well, if you
maybe.
drive down there and you look, there's stakes right along his north driveway, so I take it that's for our boundary line.
Yeah.
But it might come to, we go to court, it might come where we're gonna have to pay to have a survey for sure. Well, he's out in our, it ain't right along the line there, you know, it's out in it, so.
I move that we press charges.
You second, Lee?
I second.
So, if this does come to court, which it will, you would have to get a survey. Just saying.
Okay, no, it's good to know, thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
It's worth it.
We'll get that.
Motion by Sarah, second by Lisa to move forward with pressing charge or prosecuting or whatever. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we probably need to have a motion to have a survey.
Motion to have that property surveyed.
Search,
That's what's gonna be the
To get
killer.
estimates on the cost of this, like, is that what you wanna do, get 3 estimates for surveys, come back to the next meeting?
How much are surveys now?
That's probably gonna cost
1,600.
About 1,600?
500 anyways, Dave.
No, they're about 16.
Tingly's about
I think.
16
Four
to start.
hundred.
So we're gonna lose no matter what, but I guess we gotta set it.
We gotta draw a boundary line and you can't steal from the township.
We'll know where the property line is.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean,
If you can find 3 surveyors, that,
Okay.
find a couple, whatever.
There's one in Carson, there's one in
I'll
Stanton.
try to come up with estimates for surveys before the next meeting, is that?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Any public comment?
Do you not have a current survey of where the township, what land the township owns?
That's kind of laughable.
Well, we probably on our deed would show us, but I don't know if it's marked out
With the survey, yeah.
with the regular metal rods out in each corner, I don't know.
You still need somebody to come and.
Just saying, most people don't move those. I mean, you'd be
I had neighbors,
surprised.
I had former neighbors that moved all the time.
Cliff, or not Cliff, Stan.
I would suggest that you give the guy the option of paying for the survey and keeping the logs and not go the legal route. Give him an option, tell him you're on our property, you can pay for our survey.
That's interesting.
That's interesting, you know, don't think that's a bad idea myself.
I'm afraid this
Why-
kid,
It
Why,
also-
why go after him with legal? I mean, why?
because,
Well, did he know he
I'm
was
sorry.
stealing them?
Yes.
Yeah,
he's,
I mean,
he's
I would-
old enough for, he's old enough guy, he should.
You know, but I think I've been hearing that chainsaw, I've never even thought about it.
I mean, that's the way I would.
Yeah,
It's
a
not
couple
quite
of
public
points on
comment.
it, if you approach him, if it goes to trial, you'll need a survey. To charge him, you're not gonna need a survey.
The prosecutor may not even take it.
The prosecutor will take it, and the basic thing is you charge him, you get the charge, and then if the survey is needed,
Then get
if
the
he
survey.
fights it, then you get a survey. You know, that's, you know, the way it works, and, you know, it's not a matter of, you know, he's gonna probably say, oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry, or whatever. And, then secondly, you know, you ask for restitution if he pleads, which he probably will. Or you'll ask for, you know, to work out a deferral. But you don't need to do the survey first. You just need the guy to be charged.
Okay, any more public comment? Stan?
What's a consent agenda? What is that?
I
What's the
have-
definition of
I
that?
have the definition laying in my office.
Just give me a rough
Oh,
idea.
no. There are, I do not memorize things verbatim, Stan, but I do have that in my office, I know right where it's at.
Anybody else?
Somebody else before.
Bruce?
I was wondering if, as I sit here, I know we have meetings here, you rent out the hall, you have Winterfest in there. I think there should be an AED. I don't know if anybody knows what AEDs are.
Not wrong.
I do.
And,
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I think it's a very important, hopefully nobody would ever have to use it. But myself, I've seen it used 3 times, and it saved 3 individuals' lives. And all 3 of them were under 50 years old. But it's something that's very simple to use. If you've ever had any kind of training, it's very, very simple to use, and it can save someone's life.
You're only about $250, I think.
Yeah, I
Especially
think
when
more than that, but I think Mike Fitzpatrick, that he would check in on it,
Okay.
you know, and it's just something I think would be nice on the wall.
I'll check in on our price and see what we can come up
On
with.
that note, we do have, over $130,000 in the ARPA.
That would be perfect.
Around 8%.
Thanks, Bruce. Roger?
When their drone money come in?
The what?
Not usually till the end of February or March.
I'd buy your tractor.
Seems like it's March,
It's painted in hard.
3 or 4 tractors.
Why don't you get a good color this time?
You know what?
Get a Denmar or
we don't know
Massey
what we're gonna
Ferguson.
get, you know, we really don't.
Nothing's come out, I haven't seen anything about it.
Anybody else? John?
Just a question, did the marijuana place get sold?
No.
No, okay, alright.
Building is sold,
Not ownership of the,
Not the ownership of the dispensary.
sweet.
However, I don't know for sure. Lucky Paradise?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds.
And I can't get a good mailing address for them, so their taxes are probably gonna go delinquent.
Oh, so it's going under different, interesting.
I emailed them, they didn't respond to me.
He was in India,
In India.
but he lives in Georgia.
Okay, well, yeah.
Jeremy, I need to
Got one.
talk to you then before you leave, please.
Okay, so
Or
the
just show him how to
follow-up
use
question to
BSNA
that,
online, Jeremy.
Go ahead, John.
follow-up question to that is there an issue with the licensing? Because it was issued to somebody, and you guys already know, so, okay, cool. Other question, has anyone followed up with the insurance agent to find out some clarification on things that were said in a meeting that you found out later were
He's coming, he's
not
supposed to be here, I think, next week sometime.
to talk with you guys? Okay, cool.
How do I get my hands on a copy of what the most current structure of that new park is gonna look like? Cause I know the last time I was here, they were debating whether to do the 3 tiers or the 2 tiers, because a tier costs $100,000. How do I get a current picture of it?
A current.
Like, to see what it
A
is?
visual?
Yes.
I don't have any visuals, I have like the blueprints or whatever, or the, I'm gonna call them blueprints.
Well, there was the one that came out initially, and the
It
3
was a 4-tier.
Is that what you call that?
Yeah, now we're down to a 3-tier
But
because.
there aren't any updated
Drawings.
renderings.
Okay,
It's all just in the plans, you know.
gotcha, thanks.
Anybody else? Have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Lisa, second by Nancy, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.